Hi everyone. This video is going to cover what we're going to be working on this week. And so we're going to go over the draft of the revisions for your online teaching portfolio. I'm also going to go through the instructions for setting up our conference that will be next week. And then a little bit later on, I will be submitting to you a video talking about the your reflective one-page teaching philosophy or best practices that you've developed from the experience in this class and prior, as well as the professional resume that should be uploaded to your online portfolio. I want to start off by saying I hope everybody's doing well and everybody's surviving the isolation of staying at home. I know that I have been trying to keep sane by doing a lot of projects throughout the day that normally I'd never get to get done. It takes me 5 times as longer because I have a 3-year-old that's my helper, but kind of keeping sane that way, I guess, and hopefully the weather gets nicer so I can get off my spin bike and get outside and run with the dogs and Felix, which is always fun, pushing a 50-pound child, 2 dogs, and a stroller as you run, but hey, at least it's outside. So you should have submitted on Monday the draft of your online portfolio and plans, and that should have been just a really quick document in which you kind of bullet pointed any types of revisions that you think that you might need to do per some of my feedback and the examples of the online teaching portfolios that you might have looked at. And so I will be looking over those this evening and tomorrow evening, because unfortunately that's the only time I can get any work done now, with Felix being home 24/7. And I'll give you some feedback and maybe some suggestions for moving forward. So by next Monday the 6th, you'll have drafted and revised your online portfolio, and then we will have conferences to go over those revisions that you've done, as well as talk about the professional resume and your one-page reflective kind of teaching philosophy or reflection of best practices that you've explored and considered in this course. And so for the draft revision of the online teaching portfolio, you'll see it's under the week 13, but all of these files can be found, all of these documents can be found in the files area where I have now a folder for the online teaching portfolio. So all of the files and documents that you need for the rest of the semester will be housed in there. So for your revision for the online teaching portfolio, this is going to be kind of a draft form still, something that you and I will be talking about in our online conferences, and then you'll still have some time to make those revisions as well. And then of course, as we all know, your online teaching portfolio will be always in draft form until you utilize it for a course or for applying to a job, and then of course it continues to be in draft form as you continue to add on materials and so forth. So for the online teaching portfolio, you'll want to look at the layout of your online portfolio, the design, images that you're using, color scheme, anything that you received feedback on and or posed in your revision plan assignment as here's what I plan on doing. You will want to have a page with a draft of your professional resume and pedagogical reflection or teaching philosophy. Here again, it's still likely to be in draft form, and I hope that it is, so that we can then chat about moving forward with your professional resume and your reflection essay. So don't feel the need to have it completed completely. It can be an outline form, it can be bullet points, it can be, you know, starts of paragraphs, whatever works for you, however you draft, right? And then I would like you to pose any questions, concerns, or ideas you have for your final revision to me. You can put that in the comment box in Canvas, or if you prefer to attach a document with that, that's completely fine. I have included some links for you, and then of course I'm going to kind of go through and kind of talk about a professional resume and pedagogical reflection in more detail in another video. But there is a really good video that kind of walks through the various components of a professional resume for um, um, teachers in secondary education. And then there are some other links to how to write a teaching resume for placing it on a website. So, you know, sometimes resumes, when they're in a 1.0 format, such as just, you know, a piece of paper in comparison to a 3.0 or 4.0, they might have a little bit of differences to it or additional links or whatever it may be. And then I also gave you some examples of secondary education professional resumes that you might want to check out as well, because you know, it's not going to vary completely with what a resume would look like, but it is focused on only items, jobs, experiences that are relevant to the field of teaching. So I waitressed all the way from undergrad through my PhD, but it's not something that I would put on my professional resume, even though it's something I did the whole time, right? But rather, my experiences in working in the classroom, being a secondary education teacher, working in a writing center, being a graduate student, assistant student, all these kinds of things, relevant coursework that is that highlights some of my knowledge of the field and so forth. And then for your pedagogical reflection essay, it's 1 page. Because this is a reflection essay, there's no right or wrong writing approaches. So as long as you respond to and reflect on the following categories, you'll successfully have completed the essay. So you should start out with an I believe statement. The statement should talk about, I believe that students learn best when, or I believe that it doesn't have to be about students learn, but what is your belief about the field and students and best practices? And then you will use that I believe statement to validate and demonstrate what you believe. And so that could be through coursework that you've taken, experiences that you've had, pedagogical frameworks that you have explored and think that are quite useful in the classroom. So that means you draw from the course and other course material and knowledge to frame the I believe statement. Hi, Sasha. Try to use real world experiences for your description of the I believe statement. And so, unfortunately, we were not able to complete our service learning component for the course. That was something that was regulated by the university for any service learning course to stop any of those requirements because of, you know, isolation and making sure that students weren't being placed into positions where they could be you know, in contact with the coronavirus. And so it's unfortunate that we weren't able to complete that, but I know a lot of you had started. And I'm also have been in contact with Jose, who assures me that if any of you are interested in working with them in the future, that they would be very happy to work with you, that they had an excellent experience with you, or even in the Writing Center. If that's something that you're interested, you can contact me about that once we become non-remote. And then, of course, how you think you will grow and develop as a teacher on your way to be entering into your own classroom. So how have these experiences, this I believe statement, how does it frame who you want to become as a teacher? And then finally, what worked for you in the course, what you would like to see change. I mean, this is going to be rather weird and potentially like fluid because this course has just morphed into something that you know, is potentially not going to be as robust, obviously, and as, I don't know, um, useful for you, unfortunately, because of the situation, and also because there are a lot of students that I know that are struggling with either access to technology or just with access to just human basic needs right now and are focusing more on that. And so, you know, this course is really not as important as some of those um, stressors and anxieties. And so, and I understand that and have tried to make sure that the course is something that will at least allow you to have something to take away, which is your online teaching portfolio, but not something that causes you any additional undue stress or anxiety on top of everything else that's going on. But I would like to see some of that if you have that. So this is kind of what you will be working on and submitting on the 6th. And then we will meet online, and I'm going to have a short video after this to show you kind of step by step how to sign up if you haven't already done so for the conferences, and then the 2 different platforms that we can use for that, and kind of any other key points that we might need to cover for that. Stay safe, stay sane if you can, and know that I think about you guys all the time. I miss you guys incredibly. I hope you're doing okay, and I will hopefully see you soon virtually. I'm excited about that. So until next time.